Last week we finished up our examination of the fourth commandment, which was about the Sabbath. Today we venture into the fifth, which is about honoring your father and your mother. And this commandment is a challenge to talk about for all kinds of reasons. For starters, some of you come from great families, great parents, great memories, and the idea of honoring your parents is very natural. It makes sense. Others of you come from the opposite end of that experience. You had horrible situations, unthinkable bad, even criminal treatment. And so for you, the idea of honoring your parents it pushes you into PTSD and you can't even begin to think about this. Then we have parents who are estranged from their children for all kinds of different reasons. It's very complicated. Some you might look back as parents and look back and say, I really think we did everything right, and I'm just traumatized by how things exist right now. Others look back and say, wow, I did so many things wrong, and you're filled with regret. And then just talking about the family is complicated because today we don't really even know how to define family. That becomes a politically volatile topic of conversation. And we just know that family, by almost any definition, is sort of coming apart. And there's an increase in social disorder and crime and lack of civility and all of that. And that clearly the family or lack of a family is a big part of that equation. So the fifth commandment, just so you know, it's one of two positive commandments as opposed to thou shalt not. It's one of you've got to do this. And the fifth commandment is also the first commandment of the second tablet of the law. So we talk about two tablets. The first tablet, the first four commandments, all focused on God. Now we're making this pivot to commandments that focus on other people. And this commandment reads, honor your father and your mother, that your days may be prolonged in the land which the Lord your God gives you. Now, I don't want to be in the practice of ranking the importance of the commandments. It's worth, as a side note, we supposedly have replaced the 10 commandments with, 10 million other laws. So the fact that there's 10 as opposed to 10 million would suggest that all 10 are important. But I will say this. Having studied the fifth commandment, I'm pretty certain that I think it's more important than you think it is important. And I think that for three reasons. First of all, families are important because there is a clear link between honoring your parents and honoring God. There's just all kinds of overlap here, but domestic order is really a spiritual issue, and the Bible suggests this not only with this fifth commandment, but we see this kind of language in Deuteronomy, we see it in Proverbs, we see it in Ephesians chapter 6. Then we got all the fact that God has revealed himself to us as a father, right? Taking on that language that is very laden with our human experience. And so I just think it highlights the fact that the family is enormously important. Those who have a good relationship with their earthly father often have a much easier time having a loving relationship with their heavenly Father. Secondly, the reason families are so important, the reason this whole domestic order, the domestic focus is so critical is because healthy families are incredibly important. And they are the only place that you really have an easy opportunity to teach things like unconditional love and acceptance and dying to others and working out in that kind of a small congealed unit. There's kinship, there's just an understanding of importance and prioritization of caring for other people. And unless we learn to do that in that home dynamic, it can be really hard to learn to do that outside of there. And then third, I just think families are important, and this commandment is important because healthy families are very important to healthy societies. And we want healthy societies. Life is so much easier when society is moving in the right direction and when we're caught in that current that pulls us along or reinforces good decision-making, good habits and practices. When society is moving in the opposite direction, that just makes life so much harder. And it's unlikely that we're going to have a society that is healthier than families, because families it's the building block of society. And we need healthy families. Again, society needs healthy families, and healthy families are the only way that society functions, because we cannot pay. The government cannot raise enough money in taxes to pay people to love children like parents will do for free, right? I mean, it's just, you know, you don't love your children. You don't stay up with them in the middle of the night when they get the flu or when they're being, I mean, you love them because you love them. And so you're going to do all kinds of things that we could never sort of put a job description around and then pay for that. So, look, this is a big commandment, and we're going to be looking at this for the next few days. Honor your father and mother, that your days may be prolonged in the land which the Lord your God gives you. Have a good day.